So let's talk about a story that starts with just one single powerful word. We're diving into a story about an unbreakable bond between sisters, about really tough times, and about that search for a little bit of light when things feel their darkest. This is all from Cynthia Kadohata's incredible novel, Kira Kira.
Okay, so it all starts with this one beautiful word, Kira Kira. It's actually the very first word our narrator, Katie, ever learns. Her older sister, Lynn, would take her outside, they'd lie on the road, look up at the stars, and she'd just say it over and over, Kira Kira. It wasn't just a word, It became Katie's word for absolutely everything she loved. All right, so this first part, this is where we get to step into that initial glittering world. It's a world that is completely defined by this deep, deep bond between two sisters, Katie and Lynn, and their life in Iowa, which for a time seemed just about perfect.
So you've got to picture this. We meet our narrator, Katie, and her entire world is her brilliant older sister, Lynn. Their parents are always working. So Lynn isn't just a big sister. She's Katie's constant caretaker, she's her teacher, she's her protector out there in those huge Iowa cornfields.
And Katie's admiration for Lynn? It was just absolute. To her, Lynn could do no wrong. She was the one who taught her about that special see-through blue of the sky, and she was the one who, without a second thought, saved her from a snarling dog, and then moments later was worried the dog might have cut its tongue on some broken glass. That was Lynn.
And you know what held their shared dream together? A secret stash of cash Lynn found. $1,100 bills, tucked away under their refrigerator. Now, this wasn't just money to them. It was a promise. It was the future, a house of their very own. And maybe, just maybe, it would be painted sky blue.
But you know how it is. That glittering world, it turned out to be pretty fragile. The family's little grocery store went under, and just like that, their savings and their dream started to disappear. Suddenly, a totally new, harsh reality kicked in. They had to pack up, leave Iowa, and move to Georgia for grueling work in poultry plants.
So the family moves to Chesterfield, Georgia, and this marks a really dramatic and difficult shift in their lives. They're trading those wide-open blue skies of Iowa for something much, much harsher.
But even with everything changing, that one little dream of a home was still alive for Katie. It was this small, persistent beacon of hope she was clinging to on this really uncertain journey south. A journey that literally started with tears and hysterics in the back of their noisy uncle's truck.
And the reality they walked into in Georgia? Wow. It was just a world away from that dream. They faced this casual, cruel prejudice at motels. They were crammed into a tiny apartment with wallpaper peeling off the walls, and their parents worked these punishing, non-stop hours that left them totally exhausted and almost absent from their own kids' lives. That blue house felt farther away than ever.
But here's the amazing thing, right? Even in this bleak, new place, Lynn's spirit, her ability to find wonder, it just never quit. She immediately became the leader of the other kids in their apartment complex, organizing them to lie on their backs and just watch the sky, always on the lookout for something magical.
So life settles into this new, hard rhythm. Lynn, of course, excels. She gets straight A's, all her teachers admire her. Katie, on the other hand, is consistently average. Straight C's. She's always living in her sister's brilliant shadow, but she's so proud of her.
And this is where the story just takes a tragic turn. This is where the family's strength is tested in the most heartbreaking way you can imagine. The glittering world that Lynn built for them, it really starts to fade. It all starts with one moment. One of those moments during a game of dodgeball that seems so small, so insignificant at the time, but ends up being the thing that changes absolutely everything forever.
Lynn gets hit with the ball, and she staggers back, her eyes kind of cross for a second. And when Katie runs over to her, this is what she says. This one small, strange comment, it was the very first sign of a mysterious illness that was about to cast a long, dark shadow over their entire lives.
And after months of fatigue and constant worry, the family is finally forced to face a truly devastating truth. What they had all been hoping was just simple anemia was actually lymphoma, a serious cancer.
You can just imagine what this did to Katie's dad. He was a quiet, patient man, but he was just pushed to his breaking point. Watching his brilliant daughter get sicker and sicker while he worked himself to the bone for a rich, indifferent boss, it filled him with this silent, simmering rage that was born from just utter helplessness.
One day, that quiet anger just boiled over.
He packed the family in the car, drove them right up to the massive mansion of Mr. Linden, the plant owner. And in this shocking, sudden act, he let out all his pent-up grief and frustration, not with words, but with one single destructive action.
And that's the part that really gets you, right? This moment says so much about the deep, silent despair of a man who just felt like he'd failed to protect his family. There was no triumph in what he did, just a quiet, hollow emptiness.
Okay, so the last part of our story, it's all about navigating this unimaginable loss. It's about trying to rediscover that glitter, that kira-kira, in a world that has gone completely and totally dark.
The family actually took out a loan and bought that small sky blue house they had always dreamed of, just hoping it might somehow heal Lynn. But despite all their desperate hope, Lynn's illness took her life.
Katie was drowning in this horrifying guilt, believing she had failed her sister because she wasn't right by her side at the very end. But her uncle, in his own quirky, wonderful way, he helps her work through this immense grief with tradition and understanding, even helping her build an altar for Lynn's spirit.
Then, in the middle of all this grief, her dad has this realization. He realizes they have a fundamental choice to make. They can just be unhappy, or they can try not to be. So he decides they're going to fulfill Lynn's ultimate dream, to see the Pacific Ocean. And so they go. And there, standing at the edge of this vast, glittering ocean, the family finally has to confront it all at once, both the incredible beauty that Lynn had longed to see and the profound, crushing pain of her absence. So what does this all leave us with? Well, as Katie stood there, in the sound of the waves, she heard her sister's voice. Lynn was gone, but the kira-kira she taught Katie to see was everywhere. It's this powerful reminder that even when we face the biggest losses, the beauty and the hope that the people we love bring into our lives, that can continue to glitter long, long after they're gone.